talking with Barry Pepper for True Grit. How are you, sir?
Very good.
Awesome. I saw the movie last night. It's fantastic. You were great in it.
Thank you kindly.
You're checking it out tonight for yourself, huh?
Yeah, I've been up in Canada in the wintry north,
Yeah.
the Great White North, and so I missed the screenings that the Coens had a few weeks back. But I've been reading great things, great viral chatter from everyone, and the early reviews have been excellent. So,
Are you an online guy? Do you go online and read some stuff?
Occasionally,
Yeah.
I'm trying to educate myself on how to get around, but I try not to be too influenced by it, because sometimes I find the reviews can be sort of swayed by real various sort of influences.
Mm-hmm.
I read a review that it sounded much more like the reviewer was upset about not being invited to a screening, and because he wasn't invited to the first screening and was invited to like a later screening, you read sort of within the review
The bitterness.
of real bitterness, yeah. And so sometimes it's you kind of have to take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah. How do you think like you've grown as an actor, say in the last like 5-7 years?
Well, I think early on, I've always sort of had a method approach to my work that I think early on I took very, very seriously, and I kind of would, I would ostracize myself or become a bit of a hermit in my protection of the character and my need to retain the character and keep that authenticity throughout the entire production, and then over the years, working with really talented filmmakers and actors, you start to loosen up a little bit more and kind of find, like working with Jeff on True Grit, it was remarkable how much joy he brings to a film set and to everyone around him, and yet he puts as much intensity into the work, into the design of his character, and as much thought and foresight and preparation as anyone does. But he has this sort of infectious quality that is, it's kind of like a ripple effect that goes out across the entire film set. And
That's awesome, though. You want that on set, right?
It's a real joy to be around actors like that. And so those types of actors, those seasoned veterans, they really inform your own process. I don't change my methodology, but I bring much more joy to my work after working with people like Tom Hanks and Jeff is the same, and he learned that from his father, from watching Lloyd Bridges on film and television sets as a child, and he just felt blessed to be doing what he does for a living, and it's it really sort of sets the tone for the entire production, and so it's really enjoyable.
Do you still have to audition for stuff, like, or did the Coens just come to you and say, "We want you for this role"?
No, I don't think that they thought that this role was right for me.
Did you read for other parts then?
No. I just, so based on that response, I put myself on tape. I did a full character audition, created the character, because I'd never seen the original True Grit. And so I had no idea that Bob Duvall had played the original Lucky Ned, and so I just created the character based on the script that the brothers had adapted from the Charles Portis novel, and there was bits of descriptive that I pulled from the script that informed the way that I spoke and the things that I did with the character. Like in the backstory, Rooster had shot Ned in the face and busted up all his teeth and split up his mouth and busted his jaw and things. And so, I assumed that his jaw was busted, so that really informed the sound that I created for Lucky Ned and the way that he spoke.
How long did that take to come up with?
Well, that was for my audition.
Oh, it was? That was right from your audition?
Yeah,
cool.
So I put that on camera right away and sent in the tape, and they hired me based on that. But no, and then shortly after that, I got a phone call from Terrence Malick, and he said he wants you in his next movie, and so you don't, you just get offered the part. You
Yeah.
don't read for it, and he obviously saw something in my previous work that he really liked, and so yeah, it's sort of a bit of both.
You've had a nice career, though. I mean, because you haven't really been typecast as any one thing. You're all across the board, don't you think? I mean, that's got to be sports figures, war heroes. Now you're doing like
Sure.
the Cowboy,
Yeah,
and
by design,
yeah,
it's not just. Well, at times it's like floating down a river. You just sort of go with the flow of what's offered. But you certainly, I think you're. It stems from what you're willing to say no to.
Mm-hmm. Is there a certain genre you think that you would like to do that you haven't done? Or maybe like I mean, you've done comedies before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just finished one with Kevin Spacey called Casino Jack.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more of a.
I haven't seen that yet. Everyone was saying that it was really good.
Yeah,
So
very good.
I got to check that one out. Who do you play in that one?
I play a character by the name of Mike Scanlon, who's Jack Abramoff's sort of partner in crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, how did they describe True Grit to you when you first talked to the Coens? Like, how did they describe what?
Well, they didn't have to.
They didn't have
the
to.
Source material is so extraordinary. The Charles Portis novel is it's just one of the great classic prose fiction novels.
Yeah.
Much in the vein of like a sort of a picaresque style Mark Twain type novel.
Yeah.
So everything's there. You don't really have to look any further than. So it's not like they have to explain it to you.
Did you have to do any horseback training or anything like that? I mean, are you one of those actors where you want to do your own as much of the stunts as you can?
And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. It just depends on the dynamics of who you're working with, but and what the script calls for. If your horse leaps off a cliff, well, you're probably let somebody else do that, or a dummy. But no, I'd ridden before and grew up around firearms, so there wasn't really much training needed.
Who's the best shot on set? Did you guys ever go shooting on your downtime or anything, or hang out? No, never did that. No. Oh, I think that would be kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
See who was the fastest draw. Now, I got to say, like, how do you create like a character that's different from other Western sort of bad guy characters? And the thing about this movie is it doesn't really seem like there really is any bad guy. It's just kind of different point of view.
Yeah. Right. Well, like again, you just go off the source material, what's there, and that sort of creates the the bones of the character, and then everything else is I just drew on my own bloodline. I have sort of my own outlaw in-laws, if you will. I mean, my grandparents were pioneer people, and my grandmother was pregnant with my father in late September in northern Canada, and she rode horseback into town 8 miles through the forest to give birth to him, and to the nearest town, and then when she gave birth, she had to ride horseback back to their homestead the same way she came, and so you don't have to look too far. I mean, that's only one generation back, and they were hard scrabble pioneer settler stock of people, and I think that's really what Americans love about, and Canadians love about the Western genre, is that it sort of is a reflection back on our forefathers and mothers that really wasn't too long ago that we were living like that.
Yeah, how much tougher they were.
Mm-hmm.
The conditions and
yeah.
They had to have like the title. They actually had to have some true grit and just and deal with the conditions that they were dealt. It is pretty admirable, I think. It makes you wonder, like, how would I do if I were living back then? To try to adapt and.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much the way the majority of the world lives.
Yeah.
They live in abject poverty and probably on less than $2 a day. So you don't have to really look too far. Well, maybe outside North America to really see that hard scrabble life is the way that probably at least half of the world still lives like that.
Yeah. Do you think that studios should make more westerns?
Well, more good westerns.
Yeah.
There's so many poor westerns that are done that I think that the Coens managed to really capture the spirit of the Western genre in this film, and I think what happens is often people, you know, they when they you know think about doing a Western, they think about you know, wearing all the fancy silver buckles and the hair, the hats and the shiny leather boots and all that sort of stuff, and it kind of gets in the way of the authenticity of the period.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that so much. You see actors, they look like they just stepped right out of a dude
ranch,
and it just, there's so many inaccuracies in a lot of westerns that really sort of throw you out of the period.
That's what's good about this, and then stuff like Deadwood, because it's just dirty.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Are now you've done voiceover work for video game stuff? Are you doing anything else like that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? You didn't do like a Call of Duty?
I did, but I'm not doing.
You're not doing anything else?
No.
Did you play the new one?
What's
The Black Ops, the new one.
No.
Are you a gamer at all?
No,
Do you do any of
no,
that? No, you just do the voices.
I probably haven't played a video game since Frogger.
Oh, really?
So that's,
Yeah. What else are you working on now?
I just finished 3 pictures back to back, so now it's time. Actually 4. So now it's time to do some press and have Christmas.
Yeah. Are you gonna take a long break or?
Yeah. Well, you know, just the Christmas break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Well, thanks for talking to me, man. I really appreciate it.